Huh, I didn't know I was gonna get angry today. So we come down here. Notice the Jeep's been marking its territory lately. I just fixed an oil leak. I fixed a transmission leak. And of course, now the power steering's got a leak. And man, does it know how to have a good time when it leaks. So, for those of you that don't know, this doohickey right here is the Pitman arm, and above that is the steering gearbox. So, this Pitman shaft is leaking, and it's a lot of fun to replace because getting the Pitman arm off is a joy and a half. So, yeah, we're gonna have to take some things apart and replace those seals up in there. She drip it. We're gonna need a big old socket to get this off. 33 millimeter, or you can use a 1 5/16 if you have one of them lying around. So get one of them. You're gonna probably want yourself a good old impact gun to rip this fucker off. So that'll be fun, number one. Alright, get your impact gun out and ready for dookie. Let's see how hard this is. Not bad. Now we're going to take that nut and just gently thread it on like a little bit. Just enough so that if this Pitman arm does finally explode off, doesn't go flying, it's caught by the nut. So, now you need to get yourself a Pitman arm puller. Don't get yourself a Pitman arm tie rod end puller. Get a Pitman arm puller. These ones are bigger. 27016. Here is the beast. Now, hopefully, this has got enough strength or rooney to not break apart on us. So, if you notice, it's got a rounded mushroom thingy on the top. That way you can't fit an impact gun on there, so you're going to have to be doing this one by hand. Get your fucking 24-inch crescent wrench out and have some fun. So, it slides over like here, and we're going to drop this down, and you get the idea. Okay, so once we have our system set up like so, you crank on that thing, and it's supposed to pull the tie rod off. Now, you know, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. So, we'll see how it goes. See if we can't bend a bigger wrench. Oh, yeah. Now we have movement. And there we have a free Pitman arm. Okay. Beautiful. Now those fuckers out of the way. Okay. Now that thing's got a keyway right here in the middle, so you can only put it on one way. Or maybe there's 4 ways, but you're not going to get it off by, you know, a tooth. So you don't really have to worry about marking it if you don't move the steering wheel. It ain't going to be easy, but next we got to get this little ring clip out of there. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. When you got some shitty pliers that the tips like to break off, so you have to be really gentle without breaking them. So I had to hit it with a little punch to kind of free it up, and I finally got a flathead underneath it, so hopefully I can start lifting it and get it out. With a little flathead, you should be able to work that thing out of there real carefully and not have it explode in your face. So that's out. After that, a washer should come out. If you can't get it by hand, magnet, flathead, something like that. When it's clean, it'll come out easier. So now if you come up here, you can see our first seal that has to come out. So these things are a pain in the ass, but you have a couple options. You either try to drill through the seal, there's going to be a washer behind it, and you put some screws in there and try to yank them out with a pair of pliers. That's one way to try to pull it out. The second way is to start the engine, turn the wheel all the way to lock, and then keep trying to turn it, and it should blow the seals out along with all your power steering fluid. Or the third option is you go through the top and take out the 4 bolts that hold the I guess that's the sector shaft, and you can pull the whole shaft out of there, and then you might be able to get to the seals from the top and hammer them out that way. Well, I got no idea if this is going to work, but I heard that if you hook the Pitman arm up just loosely and turn it to full lock and then keep turning, that the pressure should blow the seal out. We'll see. Huh, son of a bitch, it actually worked. Ain't that amazing? And of course, don't forget your catch pan. Okay, I took the cap off the power steering reservoir, so now the fluid should be draining freely. So while that's draining, we can look at what came out. So here's the topmost seal. The lip end, I guess, you know, the open end was facing up. So the flat end was facing down. And then after that we had a washer. And then after that we had the other seal. And I think that was facing the other direction, if I'm not mistaken. I think the open side was facing down and the flat side was facing up. Looks like this has got a tear in it. Maybe that was our culprit. The upper seal is the thin one, and the lower seal is the thick one. So I have this power steering kit right here. It's a repair kit that just does the sector shaft, which is this guy. What we're worrying about, the Pitman arm shaft, is the sector shaft. So you can see in this lovely diagram, you got an upper seal, a washer, a lower seal, a washer, a retainer, and it's all laid out here. So, thinner one on the top, thicker one on the bottom, a washer between, and one of these wonderful ring clips to hold it all together. Now this O-ring, I think, sits on the top part up here. I don't know if they use the metal gaskets anymore. I think there's just a ridge in there that an O-ring fits in, or maybe they use both, I don't know. But if you do have to take this whole thing out, you could do that if you have to. So, I guess we'll do these one at a time. So we'll put a seal in with a washer, and we'll hammer them up there with a good socket. But let's make sure that the shaft is clean first. So now use some brake clean to clean the surfaces. I I don't know if I can get you in there, but you can actually see the bearing. That's the next part, is the bearing. So that's up there, so that's good. Now on the shaft itself, there might be some wear marks from where the seals were sealing. So if this was outside the vehicle, it'd be great to take the shaft out and sand it to try and get those ridges down. But since I'm not doing that, I'm just going to see if I can fit some sandpaper up there and go back and forth a little bit and see if I can't take the ridges down a little bit before we put the new seals in. Okay, so now we're going to put our seals on. So the smaller seal goes on first. The flat side will face down. After that, we'll put ourselves a washer on. Now I have some grease on the seal, so hopefully it doesn't get cut when it goes up in here. Okay, we need a socket to push them up. I found a 30mm, seems to fit rather well. See if we can't get the first one to go in a little better first. So now, let's see if we can get that other one in there. I got the seals up pretty high, but they still need to go higher. I've been using this sledge to try and beat it in. The heavier weight seems to help move them all, but I just need more force. I'm going to try a different approach. I'm going to use this collar as a thick washer, and I'm going to use the nut and try and press the seals up that way. So I'm going to show you what my little system looks like and see if it works. Alright, it's time we work smarter, not harder, right? So we got a makeshift press. I'm using one of the old seals as a spacer. So we got the good washer up there, and then a washer on each side of this, and the nut. So I'm going to crank down on the nut, and it should force the whole system up there as much as we can go. So let's crank on it and see what it do. Alright, that actually worked really well. You can see the old seal still sitting at the bottom, so I hope that'll come out, but we'll loosen it up and maybe rearrange some of the stuff if it's not up there all the way. But that was easy. I'll have to do that next time. So now you can come up here, and we've got plenty of room now. You can see the lip, so that's cool. Now we're going to take our washer and put that up in there, and last but not least, our snap ring. So we're going to put the snap ring in there, and we should be done. And there we have it. Snap ring's in there. You just want to make sure you give it a couple taps, make sure that it's in there properly. But there you go. So now we can take our Pitman arm and slide it up there. Make sure that if you had to turn your box at all, that the box is straight, you know, the steering wheel is straight. And then we can put that on and put the nut on. Thank God. If you're lucky, the Pitman arm should line up with the shaft properly if both things are pointing straight. Then you can put your little pressure washer thingy on there and your nut and tighten it down. Okay, it's on there. That Pitman arm nut gets 185 foot-pounds. Woo! Now my torque wrench only goes up to 150, so I just went past 150 a little more. But you'll be cranking on that thing awfully hard. So, there we go. Now we just got to put fluid in it, and with the engine off, we're going to turn the steering wheel left and right and get all the air bubbles out of the system, but hard part's done. Cool, let's get out from underneath here. Alright, I put about half a bottle of power steering fluid in, and I turned the wheel back and forth about 10 times, and the fluid hasn't gone down at all, which is weird. So I guess we'll have to start the engine and get the pump going. always try turning the wheel back and forth. Now the wheels are jacked up, so there's barely any pressure at all. Let's check our fluid level. Bubbles are not what we want. I guess that's all we can do. So I guess the system's bled. And if we look downstairs, I don't see any leaks, so I think we did pretty good. Cool. Alright. Well, we'll let the bubbles settle. It's interesting, it almost looks like that it's rising right now. So we might have to mess with it a little longer, but there you go, we'll let that all settle out. And then I'll keep checking the fluid level, but that's how you replace some Pitman arm seals on your wonderful Cherokee, or possibly a lot of other Jeeps, because these Saginaw gear boxes are pretty common on most vehicles. So there you go. Woo! We can steer again.